Hello everyone and welcome to Movember 2024. Barry McElhinney here from the Human Experience Coach, just ready to kick into the Movember series for men. And welcome to all of the ladies as well that are joining us and wanting to learn more too. In a great spot here at the moment. I've come away for the weekend to visit a friend, great farm property here in northern Victoria. It's just so good to be here. Lovely day too, I might add. But here in the farm shed, what a great spot to kick off this show. And we've got the four-wheeler here, we've got the the mowers and everything, quite a large pump over there, and all the spares and supplies in a big storeroom there. This is a great spot to be able to relax, and I'm so glad to be able to bring this to you. Week 1 of Movember. So week 1 is celebrating masculinity, really coming together and patting ourselves on the back for our achievements, for the things that we've been able to do, the good things, the positive things, the resourceful things that enable us to be better, effective men in the world. For those that don't know me, Barry McElhinney is my name. I've been coaching off and on for about 20 years now. Formalised that in 2012 and been coaching men and women in the same. I'm just so thrilled to be able to bring a men's program, and I trust you'll look forward to that. Movember Australia is the organisation behind the Movember Foundation, and in Australia they've been going since 2003. That's a fairly long time, built up to quite a following since then, and encouraging men to really get involved, but as awareness of that, also growing the Mo. I trust yours is growing, or perhaps you'd like to do it in recognition for men this month. But there's 3 main things that Movember are involved with here in Australia. The first thing is mental health and suicide prevention. Such a big topic and a big issue that really needs more attention here in Australia, and really go out to all the guys there. Trust that you're doing well. If you need to talk, I'm open. You can email me and we can have a chat if you need to. Prostate cancer is a big one for men worldwide, and there's some great methods of early detection now, and I'll go into that a bit more soon. Testicular cancer, that which affects particularly younger men, and it's quite a surprise for younger men because they think they're fit, they're healthy, but that's one thing that they can be looking out for. The good news is that it's a great success rate for testicular cancer, and just be aware of that to the young men. So that's Movember Australia. You can donate to the cause for Movember through my website. That's on behalf of Movember Australia, and I'll put the link down below. You can see that all in there. Fantastic. Let's move on. This month we're going to be looking at 4 weeks. I'm going to do celebrating masculinity this week. Next week, understanding stress. So we'll go into stress and understanding it, management of it. Week 3, we're going to create rewarding and magic in our relationships, relationship magic. A few tips and tricks that I've learned that I'll pass on to you. On week 4, we're going to be designing an extraordinary life. Is it possible to do that? Is it possible to have an extraordinary life, or is it just a select few that they're lucky? I don't think so. We'll talk more about that as we go. And for the ladies, there's a lot of ladies supporting Movember, and we really want to acknowledge you. And as a thank you from my part, I'm going to be doing a bonus for women in week 4. That's going to be on understanding men. Wow, a big topic, but maybe not. Let's find out back in week 4. But never mind, this is week 1, and let's go on with Movember, celebrating masculinity. And as we begin this, I want to give you a thought that will be a theme throughout all of these talks, and that is, it's time to think. Quite often when we're thinking, are we really thinking? Are we really getting to the solution to the problem? Or are we really doing something else instead? And if you think you're thinking, then think again. That's a phrase I learned back in 2012 when a similar topic like this was being looked at. If you think you're thinking, then think again. Why? Because to get a clear thinking, you need to be asking questions about the particular situation. It could be things such as, what else can I do? Is there another way to do this? What am I not seeing in all of this, with everything I've been presented with? And who else can be affected? Just great questions. There's dozens more questions depending on the situation. Ask the questions of you. Take time to pause and stop and just ask yourself some deep questions that might send your mind off to a different train of thought that provides a solution to the problems or to what you're trying to work out. So if you think you're thinking, think again. That's a great one, that one. Okay, some fun facts as we look and celebrate masculinity. The population of men, 50.5%, for women, 49.5% throughout the world. That's almost half and half, but we'll take the cake on that one, won't we? The men win on that one. Looking at life expectancy, and for men it's 81.2, for women 85.3. The women get that one. Women are living longer, but the general age group longevity, the living longer, is getting better and better with medical breakthroughs and better lifestyles. We're learning, and I encourage you to embrace it and take on those things to enjoy your life, not just back in your 80s or something, but now, and do those things that will help to extend your life. A man speaks of just over, well, actually it's about 15,500 words a day, whereas a woman speaks over 16,000 words. Now you might say, yeah, that's no surprise. Women speak more than men. But did you realize it was so close? Maybe not. That's a recent study that was done, and they're finding it's a bit unusual and surprising, but then again, not. That's what they've found. Most cultures boys go through a rite of passage. That's the development or the initiation, if I could call it that, from boyhood to manhood. That ritual that they do helps to take them through that passage, and that ritual does things deep intellectually and emotionally and in their mind and in their brain, and helps make that transition a lot cleaner, a lot smoother, gets them ready for manhood. So it's interesting. Great show on SBS called Rite of Passage did take a lot of cultures they looked at and what their rite of passage was for boys progressing to manhood. It's interesting that these things are around. In Western culture, we tend not to have it. And I'm wondering if we're missing out on that. I wonder if in Western culture, we really need to get back to something like this, but it's something to think about, isn't it? And the brains of adult men are about 10% bigger than the brains of women. Now, we might think that's pretty good, but wait a minute. The actual intelligence of men and women is the same. That's what they've measured. That's what they've found out. Makes me wonder what we do with the extra 10%. Cheeky women might say, oh, well, we don't need that much brain. We're cleverer, because no. We have the same intelligence in all of that. Looking at another fun fact, before the 1900s, nurses were essentially men. There were very few women nurses. But now, nursing is primarily something that is a woman's, seen as a woman's career, with only a few men. There's more entering it, of course, but generally it's something that women get involved with. Not so fun facts that we've had. Heart disease is the biggest killer of men and women in Australia. massive focus on heart care that's going on with research and medical science. But if for men and women, heart disease is the biggest one. And I encourage you to take care of your heart. If you don't know what it's conditioned, doesn't hurt to have a blood test or your blood pressure taken. Get that done, particularly if you're over 40, every year. Just go and have a checkup. Yeah, how am I going? And stress and things like that we'll look at next week can influence it as well. Prostate cancer is the second most common cancer amongst men throughout the world. Prostate cancer is massive for men. It's a big thing. It's becoming more awareness of it now, and men are getting less scared to come forward and admit that they're seeing it earlier. The good news is for men is there is now an early testing mechanism. So before there used to be quite an uncomfortable test that used to be done, very uncomfortable. But now you can just have a blood test, and as early detection, it will pick up if there's prostate cancer that needs further looking at. Go and have your blood test. Get it done. It's easy, it's simple, and you'll know instantly. Okay, let's celebrate you for starters. Let's focus on you. It's all about you and your life and who you are, what you've been doing. So what's the best thing about being a man for you? What is it? Just have a think. A lot of funny answers you could do to this, but let's get through the funny answers and let's start talking the serious ones. What is the best thing about being a man? Just give that one some thought. What's the greatest achievement in life that you've done? What is it that you've achieved? It could be maybe financial success. It could be you've been married and you've got a family with kids. Fantastic. It could be a career that you're on. It could be something that you found out about yourself, that you're just happy the way you've grown personally as a man and all that you've been able to contribute. What is it about being that man that is you're most proud of and that you've achieved? What's your best skill or quality? It could be a work job, something like a trade with carpentry, electrical, or mechanical, plumbing, whatever. Is it that, or what's your other best skill? Perhaps you've got another talent. Maybe it's musical, maybe it's writing. It could be who knows? It's your skill, it's your talent. What is it that you've got this great skill and talent about? Who has helped you most in becoming the man you are? Quite often we have a trusted grown-up as during our childhood, but now you may have someone else. Now, it could have been a father, could have been an uncle, a brother, family member. Who has helped you the most become the man you are? Some might even say to this, hey, it was my wife who helped me to see things I needed to see. Maybe that's it. What is it for you? And what's one thing that you could achieve in the future that you'd like to do? What are you aiming for now that'll take you into the future? What is it that you'd like to do? Really good one to think about. That's a good thinking one. Ponder on where would you like to be for the future? What would you like to achieve? Great fun facts here, and celebrating you, of course. Now, as we go into look at a bit deeper about celebrating masculinity, I want to get into a subject of archetypes. Now, archetypes are things that are like in our brain, in our deep conscious, unconscious level, if you like, of in our brain and our psychology. Can get a bit deep, this, but I think you'll find as we go through them, they're pretty good, and you've connected with a lot of them, I'm sure. And the main aim for bringing these out is that we can create resourceful masculinity, because with these archetypes, there's also the negative ones, and we know all about those. We've heard about those. I'll mention a few here, but generally we're after the resourceful archetypes that help us move forward, and I'll explain those what those are for you. Where I got these from, incidentally, is this book, King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, by a couple of psychologists. Their names Robert Moore and Douglas Gilbert. Great book, this one, that I've cherished. I've had this since 1995, and I've got pen all the way through it. It's really cool on helping you understand masculinity. Can get a bit deep, but I really recommend this one. And let's go through some of these briefly, just to show you what they are. The first one is the king. And the purpose of the king is to provide a safe environment where all in the kingdom have the opportunity to prosper in every part of life. Now, wow, what if we had leaders like that, hey? How about that? Provide a safe environment where all in the kingdom have the opportunity to prosper in every part of life. That's a positive king. That is a king who's not just looking after themselves, but they're looking after the kingdom. This king recognizes that I have to expand my kingdom. I want to increase, and that's good. But they've also acknowledged that the best way to do it is by helping my people in my kingdom, I'll put inverted commas there, in my little kingdom, helping them to grow, helping them, giving them the opportunity that they can improve their lives, they can grow and prosper. Because as they prosper, I prosper. My kingdom is expanded when they grow. And that is so important. A king is not someone who just looks after themselves. When we look at these, there is that negative side of them. And we wouldn't call them kings in the book here. They refer to them as a couple of things. There's the tyrant. We'll just head back on that. There was the tyrant who's really just interested in themselves, really just interested in, getting all the wealth, getting all the power, getting everything for them. And they're going to hang on to it. They're not going to share it. Oh, they'll look after the people with whatever they need, but essentially they're going to have it, and it's all mine. It's not really shared or given out amongst the people so they can grow and prosper and become more. That's the tyrant. That's the one that we don't want, that one. So forget that one. We've gone on. The second one is warrior, and warrior is a really interesting one because Hollywood makes a lot of warrior in their films. But is it the right warrior that we need? I don't think so. The purpose of the warrior is to protect the king. Very simple. Protect the king. Now that's physically protect him and make sure he's not harmed, but also protect the thoughts and the plans of the king. So if the warrior's out there in amongst the people in the background, just seeing what's going on, if he sees something that's going to threaten the king, he'll be onto it. That'll get done. Bang, done. The warrior really is in the background. They hardly ever are amongst and seen by the people. But there he is, very powerful. He's making sure the king is protected and the plans and the dreams and the goals of the king are filled out. Not that they're doing things in their own power, they're doing things with the authority of the king. That's the purpose of the warrior. Incidentally, the female warrior is also in a lot of Hollywood now, but they've really tried to make the female warrior like the masculine warrior in that sense. And I don't think they're the same. I'll mention that in our ladies' talk, eh? I'll bring that out there. That's the female warrior. But the masculine warrior, he's there to protect the king. I trust that makes sense. The dysfunctional warrior has become a sadist or a masochist. Okay, that negative side, that real negative masculinity side, where they're really got the power for themselves. It's only interested in them, and they're gonna be making sure that they're on top and everyone knows about it. Not a good place to be in. We don't want these guys. We want the warrior. the proper warrior, in our functional masculinity. The next is the magician. And the magician, he's not like magic or a mysticism or spirituality or anything like that. It's nothing to do with that. The magician is someone who is learned. He knows about stuff. He just knows how to do stuff. People go to him and ask him, and he's got the answers. How did he learn all of that? Well, it can take years, but that's the type of person he is. He's relied on for the knowledge and what he's able to give as far as answers to people. So the wise and all-knowing, that's his purpose. And that may take books, it may take experience, it may take listening to others and their teachings, but somehow he's become wise and knowing, and that's the masculinity. Really cool guy. Great bloke to have. The dysfunctional magician is going to be a detached manipulator, or a denying, impotent one. Really negative type characters, these. The detached manipulator is really just someone who's detached, and he'll manipulate using that knowledge. So detached means he steps back from the community, and he just uses that knowledge to manipulate whatever he wants. The denying innocent one is, oh, it wasn't me. He might have done something. Oh, no, never me. I deny that. Oh, no, I had nothing to do with that. So we don't want these two characters. Get them out of it. We want the magician, the proper, wise, and knowing all. The fourth one is lover. And lover is not as you probably think in that word. The lover in this sense means lover of life itself. The definition is to experience a fully embodied life. And that's including all the senses: sight, smell, sounds, touch, and taste. And you can probably remember times where you've walked into places, it might be such as a bakery, and you got that smell of the fresh bread, and oh, it smells so good, doesn't it? Something that you've seen, a great sunset somewhere, and you think, gee, you just have to stop and take that in because it's so good. Taste, food. They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. This is why that is the case, because men, that taste of food and that sensation of it being in your stomach, wow, just does something to us. And in sounds, how about the sound of like a V8 car, a real well-tuned car, just has that unbelievable sound. You close your eyes and you just listen to it. There are things about living a fully embodied life that really gets men juiced up. It gets men more, comes out in the open. It comes out towards who they are. Their personality comes out. When you can come and be that of who you are, and with those senses, that's where you start to enjoy life. That's where you live that in fully embodied life. And life is so rich because it has so many different angles to it. On the negative side, the dysfunctional lover will become an addictive lover or an impotent lover. Meaning, an addictive lover means that, let's take one of those senses and they just focus wholly on that sense, and that's all. Everything else they don't care about. It's just that one sense they're focused on, and they're addicted to it. And, what are they going to do? It's, I need more of it. I need more of it. I need more of it. That is not living an embodied life. That is really an addiction. And there's various reasons why that might be the case. But living that, you need to get more embodied, experience more things, open your vision up that extra amount even more, and see that this life can be so much more. The impotent lover, well, that's just a lover who doesn't experience anything. It's just, nothing. It's just not working. It's not getting up. It's not nothing. It's just there, stepping back. No, I'm not going to see or find out what I love. I'm just here. And it could be fear that's holding you back. It could be Maybe you've just been had too many of the wrong people around you. Maybe just haven't had the opportunity. Well, there's the time to step in and start experiencing life. Start experiencing all of those things. Become that archetype lover and a fully embodied life. And most of all, you're becoming a functional masculine by having lover operating as it should. That's great. That's the 4 archetypes: the king, warrior, magician, lover. What do you think, hey? How about a bit of thinking now, self-reflection on this? Which archetype do you think you're doing well in? Which ones do you think you're doing well in, hey? Which ones are you really zoned in on, and perhaps which one's not so good? Just rate yourself on that and see what you think. What can you start doing to move towards an even more fully functioning male? A male that is on that positive side, a resourceful male that's fully functioning. Just take one of those things at a time, maybe for a week or so. Please understand that these won't develop overnight. These get developed over time. So they become better and better, and really you can never stop developing. So it keeps going the rest of your life. That's what you want to be doing, having this focus of becoming that resourceful male. And last thing, spend some time celebrating you. Just spend some time acknowledging yourself for the great things that you've able to do for people, for yourself, for the community, the way you've developed, things you've learned. Celebrate you. Have a party over it, and give everyone a high fives for it, because you deserve to be celebrated. You've done a good job. We really congratulate you for where you are right now and your willingness to look even further. And just a special word for the ladies here. If you've got a special man in your life, whether it be a partner, husband, maybe your father or a brother, family member, how about you just give them a pat on the back and say, you know what, I really appreciate this about you, and be specific with this. I really appreciated the time you did that. I really appreciate you being here. Something, anything. I encourage all the women to go out and give the men a pat on the backs, because believe it or not, it's a real shot in the arm for us to be encouraged in that way. It's brilliant. Well done, ladies, for doing that. Fantastic. Well, we've been through archetypes, we've been through celebrating, and high fives. Really enjoyed the celebration this week. Celebrate each other blokes. If you see another bloke doing something really well, say, yeah, good on you, mate. Well done. You did a good job there. Encourage them. Spur them on. Help them to become even something more. Because you know what? You've got the ability. All men have this ability. And let's become that positive, resourceful influence of masculinity in the world. Okay, next week we are going on to understanding stress and also managing stress. What is it that we need to know? What are the big factors about it? And I think you'll enjoy this one, because stress is such a big problem in the world today with men and women, that, what's going on in the world? What on earth are we not doing right that we have so much stress? I'll see you next week. Have an enjoyable week. Celebrate high, and really celebrate you most of all. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.